Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So let's talk about path 5 in Necropolis, which I do think is also one of the easier paths. Overall I still think path 1 and 2 are easier, but path 5 is not that far off, especially if you do bring in a solid counter for Silver Centurion, because just pushing through Dagon, that fight can be very annoying. And as always, I will be discussing my own experience, champions that I used. This was my very first run, so there are certainly some things that I did incorrectly, like bringing in, several science characters. I should have just synergized Aegon more, because obviously I used him for pretty much all but one fight, really. And yeah, so that is the story of Path 5. This is definitely a path that you can brute force with Aegon only, which makes it for a very easy and achievable path. Additionally, path 5 and 6 is where Strife does really well, and so does Wong, to be honest, too. But let's start. So we're starting off with Red Goblin and Craven and Nimrod. Then obviously we have the Squirrel Girl, Solar Centurion, Spider-Man 2099, Sunspot, moving on to Elsa, Purgatory, Quicksilver, and then finishing it off. So for me, basically it was all about Aegon. Aegon is a bit trickier to use, and you do need to manage your specials in the Craven, Red Goblin, Nimrod, Squirrel Girl, Solar Centurion, and Spider-Man fights, because of the global node where you kind of get power detonation on you, and unless you have a damaging effect on opponent, you need to use a special attack before it expires, so you can take a burst of damage. So, will involve you using kind of like level 1s to get rid of the power detonation. However, at the same time, there's nothing really stopping you from kind of pushing through with Aegon. So Red Goblin, Craven, Nimrod, Squirrel Girl was perfectly fine with Aegon at that point already ramped up. Again, for Silver Centurion, I wish I had a proper counter, because that fight's really annoying. I have heard Hulkbuster does very well, Dr. Doom does very well, Guillotine 2099 does very well. Basically, you just need some very good power control there. Moving on, Spider-Man 2099. Nothing too crazy there, just occasionally take a hit on a block. You can also take a hit from their special on block to make the fight more cohesive. Sunspot, a fight where you can pretty much kind of also use anyone, just wait out those powers things too, or just don't throw specials. We have Elsa Bloodstone, and that second part was where you needed to block, well, Elsa's node is where you needed to parry her specials. It was quite an interesting fight. I really did enjoy, to be honest, but it was perfectly fine with Aegon. Against Purgatory, I used Spider-Ham. Some other really good options would involve Cassie. Chavez does well. Kate does well there. Wong and Sandman apparently does great too. Against Quicksilver, again, Aegon, Sandman. Kind of slightly annoying, but Aegon did fine. I did not realize that, but Strife turns out to be quite solid Sandman counter. Yes, it's a longer fight because he's shock immune, but you can immediately and easily get rid of those unstoppables, so that's kind of fun. Spider-Man Supreme, again, the trick with Aegon and Spider-Man Supreme fight is do not hit him a single time, because everybody thinks when you have maxed ramp Aegon, he's automatically unblockable. He isn't. He becomes unblockable when your combo meter reaches 1000, not at 999. Which means if you do not land a single hit cleanly, you can continuously keep hitting Spider-Man Supreme's block and deal damage him that way and make that fight a lot easier. Alternatively, Juggernaut did quite well for me. I have been told that Vox and Gamora do great, or you can just use Team Revive's Dex and, touch him once, Dex and touch him once, and do it slowly but surely. And then we have Null, Shocker, and Grandmaster. Overall, as I said, it is one of the easier fights, so some of the suggestions that many of you guys brought up, because we did discuss this path and path 6 as well in one of my recent streams, would involve Wong, who does great on this lane, Kate still is one of the MVPs, Gamora, Strife, Vox, Gore, Sasquatch, even evidently, and Zemo. For Craven, we have Aegon, Wong, Kate, Zemo, Vox, Doom, and Strife. Nimrod is much trickier though, but we still have Vox and Kate and Strife and Wong. For that, Squirrel Girl, this is also wrong for Squirrel Girl because that remained from the previous lane. And we have Aegon, Strife, Kate, Abs. I actually would love to see some more counter suggestions here. If you do know some fights, some champions that do well in this fight, do let me know. And moving on, Purgatory we already discussed. Elsa Bloodstone, we still have the Strife, Kate, Shuri, and Vox. So for this side and for this line overall, Again, the most convenient, the most easy, the most foolproof solution definitely by far is Aegon. You can quite literally brute force him in every single fight. But Kate and Strife and Wong definitely stood out as very good alternate options if you don't have Aegon or don't want to rank up Aegon, because they did surprisingly large amount of fights on these lanes as well. I'm kind of how piqued my curiosity with Wong as well with this. And yeah, Strife. Strife is one of the definite MVPs for Path 5 and Path 6 because Strife also has the psychic shielding. And he does well on the Path 6 fights. Additionally, what I have been hearing is quite a lot of you have been asking for my mastery setups. If you do want me to make the videos of what mastery setups I basically use throughout the entire thing with Aegon, and then when I swap them into something else, I can do that. That would, because I did not just run through with one mastery setup into any single lane. When I was using Aegon, for the most part, I was switching my recall masteries on to make it quicker, and when I was using Shuri or somebody else, I was taking them off. Obviously, there are some peculiarities in those setups. I don't think they make the biggest difference in the world, but they certainly didn't hurt. If you do want to see how those mastery setups look like, and me explained exactly how I went in at the beginning, because obviously your ramp up stages, your setups are going to be different as well with Aegon. I can do a separate video for that after I do the explanation video for Path 6. Meanwhile, I do want to remind you guys that I want to keep working on these. If you do have good suggestions of what you want to see added to these spreadsheets, please do let me know. And obviously, I am still eagerly waiting to hear from more kind of like cool counter suggestions and stuff like that, because Necropolis is going to be a viable and important content for, foreseeable future in the game. And just because we already think something is obvious and apparent doesn't mean that somebody, half a year down the line will think so as well. So definitely all feedback and help building up this spreadsheet is welcome, because I just want to make as helpful guide as possible for anybody that should or could potentially need it in future. So all that being said, that is pretty much it. Then we have just the Path 6 video left, but I do need to make a few alterations to the sheet again. No, this is actually working perfectly fine. But yeah, we basically only have Path 6 video left, and then, as I said, I might do one separate one for masteries or one specific kind of like Aegon video showing a few tricks and a few things with Aegon that some people might be unaware of. Let me know how does that sound for you, and yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Bye-bye. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about the